How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Emerald City Hockey post-game live after a huge win to end the road trip for the Seattle Kraken. RJ, as they pick up the victory in Nashville, 7-3 over the Preds. This was a fantastic game. A little bit of back and forth, right? But then the Kraken come out huge in the third period just to kind of shut it down, say, hey, no, we are going to actually win this game. And they walk out of there with 2 points and, a very healthy 4 out of 6 points for the road trip, first road trip of the year.
Yeah, I think overall you call the road trip a success, right? You get 4 out of 6 points. The one loss is as close to a scheduled loss as you're going to get against Dallas on the second half of a back-to-back. And you pointed out, Dylan, the Kraken made a statement in the third period of this game. They go into it tied, and they were just so clearly the better team, and they showed they would not be denied in a lot of ways. This reminded me of a game from maybe a couple seasons ago, the year they were a playoff team. You get 7 goals from 7 different goal scorers. You look fast. You're able to score your way out of maybe a few defensive mistakes or miscues as well. And I see Afra there trying to get in on the shot. I know she was happy with this one too.
Yes, she was. No, this was one where, and we had a great time watching this as our live game commentary of the month with all of our patrons, and I see many of them in chat already, and they just had to hear me make this point, but I'm going to make it again. This was a big game in the sense that it was kind of the reverse of what you did in Minnesota a couple nights ago, right? In that game, they're up by 2. You fight back to tie the game. They go up again. You fight back to tie the game. You ultimately get the win. This one, a little bit different. You jump up by 2 early on in this one, right? You take advantage of Nashville not really looking like they're ready for this one, right? They're struggling a little bit at the beginning. You come in, you get a 2-goal lead. You lose that 2-goal lead in the second, it's still in that first period. You're able to get a third goal, though, towards the end of that period, go up, reestablish the lead. You lose that lead again in the second period. And then you come out into a third period, which I know it wasn't for much, but they did have to start that third period on the PK for 12 seconds, right? So it's a little less than of an ideal start than you would normally like. And then from there, the Kraken were just like, no, we are not going to lose a lead again, right? They get the 4th goal. They add a 5th goal pretty quick afterwards. And then from there, it's like, no, Matty just says, no, we're going to go get another one. And then ultimately you get that empty netter. This was just a huge statement win for them. And it showed that we can fight through the momentum swings, right? Like, this didn't burn you the way it did in the St. Louis one. We can fight through that, and we can find a way to win, whether we're down in the Minnesota game or if we're struggling to hold on to the lead, we can find that next gear and make sure we secure the win.
Yeah, definitely. And it put them in situations like they were in the St. Louis game where you have to respond better than they did in that one. And that's exactly what the Kraken did tonight. It put them in some new situations too, because this is the first time they were in the third period defending a lead. We hadn't seen that in the previous 3 games. And the way they just methodically defended, put some pressure offensively. They didn't just sit back and go into a shell. And they kept some pressure on Nashville, which helped extend their lead and make it so it was really quite comfortable just defending it. I don't think we were really worried at any point that Nashville was going to get a foothold again. And I think that's encouraging to see for those moments where the Kraken will defend a lead in the third period.
Definitely. Now we got some super chats stacking up. Want to make sure I get over to those. First one here from Sean. Awesome third period. Everyone should be proud of that effort. Also an awesome one. ECH live watch along. Yes, it was a ton of fun. Thanks for being in there, Sean. Thanks to everybody who was in there and joined us for that and all their support over at Patreon. But yeah, this game is always going to be remembered for this third period and the way the Kraken kind of stepped up and just closed the game out. I know I've already talked about it a ton. I'm sure we'll talk about it as the night goes on. Light with the next super chat. Are you prepared for the Jordan Eberly point per game era? Also got to say that third was some of the best defensive play I've ever seen from the Kraken. Yes, Jordan Eberly, captaincy really agrees with him, continuing his hot start to the season. RJ picks up another goal in this one. Man, he looks so good.
He does. And I was surprised to see this. I'd given my take on the Eberly captaincy even before training camp, right? That it might not be who I would pick. I had my concerns, and I always felt that just slapping a C on someone doesn't really change the kind of person they are, how they lead. He's looked like a different player, even just on the ice. And I really wasn't expecting that, but he has come to play this season. I think he fits really well with what Dan's systems are and what the team is trying to do. And he just seems really motivated. He seems just like he has this burst of energy, right? That
Mhm.
I guess it's easy to not see at the end of last season when probably a lot of guys weren't feeling the best, but he seems so motivated now with the C on his chest.
Yeah, he does. And then Light bringing up the other part of this third period that we haven't necessarily touched on so much. And so here we are. We talked about the third period already again. And that is the defense that the Kraken played, right? And you were pointing out, and I can let you make the point, like the way they were swarming at the blue line, really not letting the Predators enter the zone. Earlier in the game, there were times in which the Kraken really dominated the neutral zone, and they weren't letting the Predators really kind of establish any sort of rush. In the third period, RJ, it kind of looked like it had seeped in. It wasn't so much in the neutral zone. Now it was kind of up at the top half of the defensive zone.
Right. They kind of changed the space where they decided to put the extra pressure in. And I liked them doing that to make sure that no one really got behind them. It was less susceptible to dump ins as well in the third period. But you noticed as soon as Nashville crossed the blue line, all 5 skaters would kind of swarm to that area, and the puck carrier had absolutely nowhere to go. And it was frustrating. At one point, I remember just saying to you and everyone, like, I imagine Nashville's going to maybe even take a penalty or something out of frustration. This just seems frustrating as heck to play against. And I'm sure it was. It's just, that's what you want to see from a team too. The best teams, especially in the playoffs, are the ones that can just give you this muddy track of roadblocks to try and get through just to get established in the zone.
Yeah, definitely. No, their D in this one was really fantastic. So many times that we brought up on the live game commentary where I was just so pumped to see the defense playing the puck, right? Focusing on playing the puck on stick, or stick on puck, I should say, disrupt what the other team is doing. That's just the best way to defend. You don't have to sell it out with your body, right? And pull yourself out of position to go lay a big hit. You just got to get your stick on the puck and not let them do what they want to do. And so many Kraken defensemen and also some forwards in this one were able to do that. And I think it made a big difference, especially there in the third period. B with the next super chat. Wow, Joey with so many clutch saves, one after another, scoring up and down the lineup. And what a third period. Exciting the whole way through. RJ, it was a topic of conversation on the live game commentary, but yes, the goal support was there for Joey Daccord in this one, but he did also make a ton of great saves himself.
Right. And it's been nice he's been getting the goal support. I know Gru might be wondering, where is this for me? The goal support difference has been pretty stark. But go back to even what I said in the last post game live, where Joey let in 3 goals. That's, more than you ideally like, but it's about making those saves the clutch times. And this is a little different than the second one from Grubauer that I talked about last game. But there are certain times too, where if you can make a save that you have no business making, you can help turn the momentum in your team's favor. And as I see Coop here in the next super chat, talking about that big flurry of saves on the 4-on-3 penalty kill, I feel like that is where this game turned, where you have that play across to, I believe it was Forsberg, had a ton of net, right? But Joey gets the leg over. And then I don't know how he possibly tracked that, but the slap shot from Stamkos bounces off the end glass and he tracks it, catches it in his glove from behind him. That is so ridiculously difficult. I don't even know how to replicate that. Have a friend stand in front of you, throw a tennis ball against the wall behind you, and you try and catch it in your hand. And you can look around as soon as they release it. Like, that's how hard that is to do. But that's where the momentum of the game changes. If Nashville scores, it's 4-3 there. It's an entirely different looking third period than what you saw. And those big saves can make all the difference. Even though he had already allowed 3-2 through 2 periods, that's not ideal. But the big saves from Joey were so important.
Yeah, and Coop with that super chat, as RJ said, big saves at big moments. We don't win without that Joey flurry of saves on the 4-on-3 PK. Then we're tied at 3. Then we're tied at 3-3. Not all saves are created equal, and that is true. I mean, it was a huge moment. Just being able to get across for the first Forsberg chance. Forsberg then hits the post, goes behind Joey. Lucky it doesn't go in, right? Alexiak maybe helps try to get that out of the crease, and then yes, to make the catch off the glass and everything was just. I mean, we were losing our minds. Chat was losing their minds. Like, everybody was just losing their minds. No matter where you were watching this game, you were losing your mind at that one. Comic Binge with the next one. Matty seems to be on the brink of breaking out. I agree with that, right? So that. I don't even remember. I lost track. Was it goal 6 for the team? The Jared McCann goal that was, good on Jared McCann for going to the, side of the net there, net front, banging home the little rebound there and collecting the goal. But so much of that sequence was Matty Beniers, who collects the puck. I believe it was in the neutral zone, but it was pretty far back in the neutral zone. He has to walk it all the way through the neutral zone. He's got tons of Nashville players. He's got to go around. He's making good dangles to get around them. He's fighting through sticks, RJ. He did another one later in the defensive zone to retain possession, not let Nashville have a chance in the third period late. He's just gotten so good at being strong on the puck. And yes, it maybe isn't in the physical way that we all wanted to see from him, with him bulking up, or hopefully bulking up and then using his body more and boxing guys out, all of that kind of stuff. But it is clear that, any muscle he has added, RJ, it's got to be in his arms, because Nashville was just hacking away at his stick. He made sure he maintained control of that puck. He was able to move it in positive directions both times and create big plays when the Kraken need it. I mean, just go back and watch that sequence from him on that Jared McCann goal. That's unlike anything we've ever seen from Matty Beniers before at this level, or even back in college or playing for Team USA at the junior level. That is new look for Matty.
He has a certain type of confidence that I don't think we've seen from him yet, at least in Seattle. I didn't watch a ton of his college tape, but where he can go into a situation like that. And if we remember, the defenseman back was Roman Josi. That's one of the best defensemen in the NHL. Had a rough night tonight, but still, where he can have his head up, see what he's up against, which is really like 2 or 3 defenders on him, and think, yeah, I can go through that and I can make something valuable out of this. Whereas I think a lot of the time last season, maybe Matty takes a look at that, especially knowing the lead the team has, got a couple goal lead, maybe just dumps that puck in or tries to make the safe play. But we're seeing him feeling more confident than he has been. And you see the results that can come from it, right? He throws that out in front. McCann does the right thing, goes to the net. And that's still a big goal in this game, because Nashville had a lot of time to set up, pull the goalie, try and do something with the empty net. That 3-goal cushion instead of 2 is important.
Yeah, about 8 minutes left for Nashville at that point, and it was only a 2-goal lead for the Kraken. Schultz with the next super chat here. Schwartz-Stevenson, Bjorkstrand line, 2 points each, looking awesome. It'll be nice to get a few games off from playing the Central Division. We want a Joey goal. Yes. I mean, we were all really rooting for the Joey Daccord goal tonight, especially with so many looks, RJ, right? With Nashville pulling the goalie so early in this one, there was potential. There's a lot of potential for that goal to come through. Does not end up happening. But yes, the Schwartz-Stevenson Bjorkstrand line, even though it maybe got broken up a little bit there in the third period as Schwartz was moved off the line and Ty Cartier was moved onto the line, that line looked like, at the addition of Bjorkstrand, you subtract Berkey, it really changed the dynamic of that line, and they were really able to play with pace, catch Nashville off guard, and just make some stuff happen as Chandler Stevenson picks up his first 2 points as a Kraken.
Right. And you saw it happen, especially on that Bjorkstrand goal. I think that kind of exemplifies what they're going to be best at. And it felt like something they almost stole from Dallas a little bit in the last game, right? Where you see Schwartz get the puck in the D zone and just throws it into the neutral zone to an area. He doesn't have time to look and find someone's specific tape, but he knows that Stevenson and Bjorkstrand are flying the zone. He gets it to Stevenson. That pass across, I mean, what a play by Bjorkstrand, because that pass is in his feet. That's so hard to corral that and shoot it as quickly as he did. I think it threw Saros off a little bit, maybe not expecting Bjorkstrand to get that shot off. The timing, I think, threw him off. But yeah, that line was huge. And I love it from Bjorkstrand too, because it feels like, and I know this was a nickname or something that Hackstall said about Jaden Schwartz, but I'm going to reapply this to Oliver Bjorkstrand, because this is what he is. He's the line fixer. You can put him on any line that maybe needs a little bit of help, and he's going to improve the situation. And we saw it tonight.
Yeah, and a couple super chats down. Tammy, Schwartz is underrated. Great game from him. It was a great game from him. He was fantastic in this one. I think about that one, the Bjorkstrand goal, but also the Schwartz goal, where Bjorkstrand does a great job of reading that, Roman Josi in front of him is not playing him aggressively. He's also got his stick kind of out of position. He's got the lane. It's a great play from Bjorkstrand to go between Josi's legs to make the pass up to Schwartz, but it's also a great read from Jaden Schwartz to know that defense is playing up, but they're not playing aggressive. Let me split these defenders and get open behind them, right? And if a player is able to get me the puck, I can make a move. And then he makes a fantastic move there. I mean, it calls for him to be in the shootout from everybody in chat while we were watching it. It was a really fantastic game from Jaden Schwartz for sure. Next one up is Gregory Lemon Lime Gatorade time, baby. 7 different goal scorers. Joey with 3 incredible saves. RJ, talk about how this reminds you of season 2 with the 7 different goal scorers for the 7 different goals while I enjoy some of this much needed Gatorade after we've been live for over 3 hours or so now.
Yeah. So while Dylan hydrates, thank you again for the super chat, Gregory, right on cue. It does remind me a lot of 2 seasons ago. It's so many different ways, but you're seeing the team just being able to roll 4 lines and consistently get contributions from all of them. I don't think we've really talked about it a ton yet, but the 4th line too, with Gord, Tanv, and Karche early on, the way they were just dominating every one of their shifts, looking so much faster than Nashville's 4th line, because they're one of those big heavy lines, but they couldn't catch the 4th line. And then even with tougher matchups, even against the Stamkos line, they just looked faster. They just looked better. That's kind of what we saw from the Kraken 4th line a couple years ago. And then also overall, just being able to outscore your mistakes, because you look, the Kraken did give up 3 goals in a lot of games. That might even be too much, right? And they probably could have given up a 4th if Joey doesn't make those 3 incredible saves that Gregory mentioned. But they're just producing so much from all 4 forward lines that it doesn't matter. They're going to put 7 on you.
Exactly. No, it doesn't matter. And I'm just so happy to kind of have this feeling back from that second season. And there was a couple games last year where they were able to put up 7, but I don't know, maybe it's just the early season optimism, but it really just does feel different, right? This felt like a track meet. The Minnesota game kind of felt like a track meet. What has Dan been saying since day one at his introductory press conference? He wants to be a team that skates. You add Jess Campbell to the coaching staff. She's going to be there to help these guys skate and play this style of game where you can be aggressive and offensive and get up the ice. Have plays like Jaden Schwartz getting behind defenders. Even though there's 2 defensemen back, he finds a way to get behind them because of his skating, and you're able to make a play. But at the same time, not really give up any odd man rushes for Nashville. There was maybe 2 or 3, but there was not at the same level as the looks that the Kraken were getting in this one. So the skating plays both directions there. And if the Kraken are going to play this more exciting and a little bit more back and forth style game, I think we'll see more offensive games like this and like the Minnesota one. But I think it might be something that they might have the upper hand on over the course of an 82-game season. As teams get deeper into the season, guys are a little bit more banged up. You're starting to get tired from the wear and tear of it all, just because of the emphasis that this coaching staff is placing on that skating.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I could see aging well into a season.
Kraken fan with the next super chat here. Thank you very much. Bausma's game seems to fit Tanv well. Perhaps we should try to keep him. I mean, look, he looks fantastic. He is playing well. This 4th line, as you mentioned, RJ, it is playing well. It's also a $9 million 4th line, which is a little less than ideal. And the problem is, look, I would love to keep Tanv in this system and have him out there and help. The Kraken need flexibility, right? You have no extra forwards. If anybody gets hurt, you do not have somebody who can replace them because of the cap situation you're in. It's crummy that we have to keep talking about this. And I know a lot of fans probably are sick of hearing about it at this point, but it is the reality that the Kraken are in. And the reason Tanev's name, I think, keeps coming up is because he clears enough money that it would allow the Kraken to bring up a couple of players, to have a couple guys around in case of injury. And because he does have value, because he is playing well, right? Somebody would want him. There's other guys on this roster, but because of their contracts versus how well they've been playing so far and last season, you wouldn't necessarily be able to move them. And they all have no trade clauses, but that doesn't help either. So I think that's really the reason with Tanv at this point, is because he has answered a lot of the questions about his play so far this season.
And unfortunately, with the cap situation, if you do keep him, then the next question becomes, okay, well, who else are you moving? Because there has to be somebody else. And that somebody else pretty much has to be Yanni Gord, Ellie Tolvanen, or Will Borgen. And that's going to be another uncomfortable one to get rid of.
Yeah. Light with the next super chat, 2 points. First one, Jaden Schwartz may genuinely be the Kraken's version of Mark Stone that Stevenson needed. And then point 2, Riker's evolution to a 2-way D-man is the best. So we'll take this point by point. We've already been talking about Jaden Schwartz in this one. RJ, what do you think of that as far as him being the Mark Stone on that line with Chandler Stevenson?
I mean, he certainly played certain roles that Mark Stone would tonight in as far as like getting into those spaces where Stevenson can kind of be a distributor and do some of those things, or defensively, like break the puck out, leading to that 2-on-1. That's the play where I feel like, okay, that's Mark Stone, like, because he's so good defensively, he can throw the puck up the ice and generate the 2-on-1. Mark Stone is just such a unique player. Like, I don't want to throw cold water on this. It was just like, there's only one Mark Stone in the NHL. He's just, so I hesitate to make that comparison, but he might be, a value version enough, right? Enough of a poor man's Mark Stone to generate something. You're still going to need other talent on the line. I think the two of them together, they had Berkey on the other wing and it didn't work out. You're still going to need someone like Bjorkstrand who can, like on that first goal, kind of create a chance and a way to finish.
Yeah, Mark Stone is a special guy. There's no denying that. Whether it's his play or the way he tapes his stick, like there is nobody else.
Or the way
like
he
Mark
celebrates
Stone.
every goal as though it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final.
Yes, there is nobody else like Mark Stone. I will say this: one of the things that I think of when I think of Mark Stone, though, is he's a very aggressive north-south player, and I do think that Jaden Schwartz has the ability to play that way, and I do think that he played that way today. Right? He was aggressive in how just kind of straight line he was playing the game. And I'm sure there's an element of that for Stevenson, where if a guy is going to be playing that way, where to be looking for him in different situations and when you can read and make those plays to him. So if this is the style of back and forth, up and down the ice game that the Kraken want to play, and if Jaden Schwartz is able to kind of keep this level of pace to it and the aggressiveness there, I think he could be a little Mark Stone light for Chandler Stevenson. The other thing that was brought up when there was comments on various different platforms that we've seen is people wondering about Jared McCann playing with Chandler Stevenson, just because Chandler Stevenson, good passer, kind of needs a finisher, right? If he's going to put up points and stuff. Jared McCann, he was on the Shane line. We're not necessarily sure that he should be on the Shane line. He kind of moved around the lineup tonight, especially in the third period, RJ. Maybe Jared McCann ends up there with Chandler Stevenson, and Chandler Stevenson's just kind of able to feed him.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. It's something I think they probably should give a try, whether it's line blender mid-game or is that start a game.
Yeah. And then the second half of Light's comment here about Riker Evans. And yes, Riker Evans has turned into a pretty solid two-way defenseman at this point in his career. He's making good plays defensively. We know about the offensive potential for him. I do feel like he's really focused on the defensive parts of his game, especially early on in this season, RJ. And so far, so good.
Yeah, and I know you were kind of complimenting the way that he was using his stick and kind of playing the puck rather than the man and evolving a little bit in his defensive game that way. We know what he brings offensively. We saw that first goal, and I don't think anyone would be surprised to see that if they've ever seen him play before. So, we know he brings that, but that defensive focus, there's still some areas to work on, but I think you see the improvement.
Definitely. And Schultz, the super chat here, Wild with the goalie goal. Yes. As much as we wanted to see it from Joey Daccord tonight, RJ, there was a goalie goal tonight. It was not for us. It happened over there in the Minnesota game. It's so cool. We still haven't, I don't know about you, but I have not seen it yet because we've been doing these streams.
I have. I looked at it real quick. And yeah, I mean, it's a shot from, he was a little ways outside the crease, but just threw it all the way down there. No one really even close to.
Was it a power play goal?
Yes, it was a power play goal.
That just makes it even cooler.
Yeah, it does. And also the assists thing too, because we were asking about the goalie assists. I remember Viren said somewhere, I think it was in the last chat, 15 goalie goals, 0 assists. So there's yet to be an assisted goalie goal. Maybe Joey's can be the first there. Keep that in the back of our mind in case like Lars throws in the puck back or something.
Yeah, if it does. Well, Lars is the one guy who's going to go for the empty net.
Yeah, he won't do it.
That's what tonight showed us. If the assist comes on the Joey goal, it will not be from Adam Larson. That's for sure. All right. Thanks to everybody who gave the super chats. Really appreciate all 11 of those to kick off this stream. Hopping over into the regular chat here. Got lots of excitement from Coop to kick things off. And then Brian, always feel good to go back where you got your first win. Thanks, Smashville. That is true. That's good memory.
It's been kind to Seattle, I feel like.
It has been. It has been. Nice to jump on Nashville. Well, they've struggled to start the season, right? It feels nice to kind of continue to dump on a team that is struggling rather than be the get right game the way the Kraken were all too many times.
So much last season. Yes, they were always the get right game, but this might be different.
Yep, let's go. B Kraken hockey is back in business for sure. Patrick, let's go 500 club, baby. That's right. It's a good place to be. Tabby, like I said earlier, 2 out of 3 on the road. I'll take it. I will for sure. Chris and Owen, thanks again for Tolvie, Nashville. Just kind of rubbing some salt in the wound there. Love it. David with the Joey there. Yeah, no, this is all really, really, really good stuff here. Sarah, great game. They seem to be getting a little better each game. I agree with that, right? I just think as they're settling into stuff and as the team keeps wanting to remind us, right? Give them around 20 games, let them get situated, let them get consistent, right? Because that's really what it's been. It hasn't been give us 20 games to learn the system. It's been give us 20 games to build chemistry and get consistent within those systems. You heard Coach Jess Campbell talk about it during her intermission interview between the second and third period. A lot of coach speak, as the last couple assistant coach interviews have been, and any coach interview ever really is. But one of the things she talked about as a focal point between that second and third period did come to pass in the third one, and that was just emphasis on making sure you're making your reads, you're making your passes, and just get consistent with those, get good at those, and that is what they did, right? Like they were back to that consistency they had in the first period for that third period, and they were able to pull away.
Yeah, tonight as a whole, I think was a good reminder about the progress and the consistency, because we saw in the first period, it stretches where they just dominated, right? They were completely dictating the pace of play. We also saw stretches where they blew a 2-goal lead pretty fast, right? They know how to do the right things. You know, the third period show, they know how to do the right things. It's just about doing them consistently enough where you're doing them over a full 60 minutes. And that's just going to take some time. On the Jess Campbell interview, though, I love to see that. I love they're doing the assistant coach interviews. The one thing she said that depending on how you look at it, might have aged poorly, is she was saying that those first 2 periods were the best 2 that she thought that they had played this season. Certainly not, I feel like, the best 2 anymore, because that third period clears both of them in my mind.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, for sure. She needed to be a little bit more patient on that one. Or hey, just keep getting better. That's the other way to look at it, in which case I'm all for it. Christian with the super chat. What's with the Preds? First franchise win, season 1 Kraken Day win against them. My first NHL game. That's a sick game to go to, Christian. And gifting us Tolvie. Why are they so nice to us? Not only that, they gave us a second for Jeremy Lauzon, RJ. Nashville cannot help themselves. They are here to support the Seattle Kraken.
I feel like some teams just have that relationship with other teams. The one I grew up with was the LA Kings, and it was always the Columbus Blue Jackets that would help them out. The Blue Jackets just had that relationship, whether it's trading them a Jeff Carter or a Marian Gaborik on the way to their cup runs. It always felt like the Blue Jackets just wanted to be buddies, but would always just get taken advantage of by the Kings. I think the Kraken might have something like that with Nashville.
It does appear as though that is the case. I will agree with that. Brian, 7 goals, 7 different goal scorers. None were scored by a center still. Yes, but we got points, right? Matty Beniers picks up an assist to this one. Schwarz-Stevenson gets a pair of assists. The Jared McCann, was it the Jared McCann goal? No, it was the Jordan Eberly goal. Shane Wright doesn't get an assist there, but he plays Nashville hard in the offensive zone and keeps them from clearing the puck and makes that whole sequence happen. And so, you know, Shane Wright not able to get the assist credited and all that on the board, but definitely is, you know, obviously a lot of guys are responsible for that goal happening, but he is one of them and made a big play to make that happen. So look, I think in a back and forth style game like this, if your centers are going to be the distributors, RJ, I think it might be a little while before we see a goal from them. Obviously you want one sooner rather than later, but I think you see more games like tonight where the scoring does come from the wingers and then you're getting centers with multiple assists.
Right. And you only are concerned about it if the centers aren't generating offense, right? And it's totally fine if the wingers are the ones to cap it off. And I think we did see the centers generate plenty. I mean, we've talked about so many of the plays already that they made. So yeah, they don't get the goals there, but I'm not worried about it in the slightest, at least not tonight.
Yeah, and Yanni Gord picking up an assist in this one as well. So you did have 3 of your
how impactful he was just consistently throughout, especially the first period, but on that forecheck, he was a wrecking ball.
As Jules says, let's add a cheers to that fourth line as well. Boys were giving their all throughout the whole game. They really were. Stratic asking, what was your favorite goal? There's a lot to choose from this one, RJ. I'm trying to think. I do like that Jordan Eberly one just because of the whole sequence of them dumping the puck, like Jared McCann going in aggressively at the beginning of that sequence, just entering the zone, kind of dumping it in, going in hard on the forecheck. Nashville is able to collect it, but kind of a rough clear up along the boards. That's when Shane comes over, makes it so that they cannot clear. The second guy is unable to clear along the half boards for the Predators. Shane keeps it in the zone. Alexiak's able to collect it, move it to McCann. McCann's able to fight through two Preds to get the puck over to then a wide open Jordan Eberly, who makes a 6 shot. Like, that's a great looking goal from Jordan Eberly. I think it might be that one just because I feel like it's the best example of them. That is dump and chase working for you, right? You dump it into the zone, you go after it aggressively, you keep them from clearing the zone, you make a play, your guy scores.
Right. And that's why I was tempted to pick that one as well, right? But the dump and chase, go and put in the work. So maybe I would say, could it be the Riker goal? Because I think that's maybe the other closest one that they kind of had there, where they were cycling in the offensive zone. It was the fourth line. But I think I'm still going to go with the Jared McCann goal because of the confidence from Matty Beniers and everything that shows, and just Matty setting that up and feeling like he can go through that sea of bodies there and kind of creating that separation. We talked about that one already a little bit, but I think that is my favorite.
Yeah. No, that one was a good one. I mean, I wouldn't blame anybody for the McCann one just because of all the
and McCann's sticking with it too, because it's not like he just zooms in and shoots it. It's just sitting there in the crease. He spins around and stays with the play. I love that from Jared McCann.
Yeah. No, it is good. Josh Stevenson, Oliver Schwartz line is fantastic. It is Ralston Prime. The boys look great tonight. They did. Jake, I love hockey again.
There we go.
Love that one. Virginia, my son says hi, me too. Hi, Virginia and son.
Hi there.
Appreciate that. Let's see. Rogue Wave Creative. One of the coolest things I've ever seen was a tribute to Johnny Hockey. They left his left wing spot open and dropped the puck and waited 13 seconds. That was really cool in the Columbus, Florida game that they did that. I agree with that. Moose Hawkins just following along with the box score. That game was crazy. I cannot imagine just following along on the box score on this one. Just every time you check, seems like something's happening, especially in that third period. Love it. Michael, not a chance in the world that Hack would have made these line changes anywhere near this fast. Dan has his team adjusting, finding, and building chemistry, and unafraid to make any adjustments necessary. And I know that was a question, maybe a little concern even after the very first game against St. Louis, and we saw St. Louis make an adjustment. Kraken didn't maybe make the counter adjustment. It's hard in a third period to do so. But I said, I've watched a lot of Firebirds games. One thing Dan is unafraid to do is make adjustments. He will make adjustments. His coaching staff knows he will make adjustments. They have the freedom to make adjustments in their own little areas that they have say over. And we are seeing that through these games, RJ, is not just line adjustments, but also a little bit of style of play adjustments too.
And we saw that plenty from Dan and the staff in Coachella Valley. We were hoping that's something that they would bring over here. And it holds a lot of power when you're able to do that. And we saw the flip side of it a lot with the Hackstall teams, how other teams were able to make adjustments against the Kraken. And it's just nice to be on this side of it.
Right. And seeing the more maybe aggressive north-south style with the back and forth than even what we saw in Minnesota in the Minnesota game. That's an adjustment. But like we were talking about earlier, the adjustment where they had the emphasis all throughout the game, first two periods in the neutral zone, keep Nashville from entering the zone. In the third period, they changed that, let them have the zone, but then force them to try to get past you just inside the zone. Like, that is an adjustment that this team made. It is something that clearly all four lines were making. That's why it was a coaching adjustment, not something the players were doing. And it made a big difference. And they were able to really stonewall Nashville at the very end there. They just were not able to get anything going. Savvy, FYI, I'm streaming from an airplane. Go Kraken. That's sick. I don't know that we've ever had anybody
I think that's
before.
A new one. That's awesome. Love that. Yeah, we've had people from all over the world, right? Check in for post game live. I don't think we've had airplane yet. So awesome. Yes. Love that you're joining us from 30,000 feet. Thank you, Savvy.
Yes. Drabert, the Daccord saves on the 4-on-3 PK in the second was huge. They were. I mean, watch that sequence over and over for sure, along with all the goals. Like, that should just be the highlight from this game.
Yeah, and Alex, I want to point this one. I contend they just wanted to see some touchdowns in Tennessee for a change. I did get a good chuckle out of that. Although Will Levis has been serving up plenty for opposing teams, so
I was going
they've
to say
seen him.
they have
Yeah.
seen touchdowns. They have just not seen touchdowns. Very similar to this game, right? The visiting team is getting the touchdown.
Yes.
It's for sure. David, so pumped. I haven't been this optimistic since the Winter Classic. Keep it going. It's fun to hear. Love
UC
all of
Saros,
this
Will
stuff.
Levis.
Yes. All right, RJ. I haven't seen this in chat. This is generally what we do and talk about after a win. I'm sorry to bring this up for the people who don't want to hear it, but do we know who got the belt? And I know it's still a sore subject because it's not the hat and everything, but I do want to know. And now as I'm scrolling,
I
through,
don't know
seeing
yet.
stuff like Sarah saying Joey with the belt for sure. I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Be
There's been a
else.
post-game selfie, and it was Riker and Borgen, but neither of them seem to have a belt on them. So maybe we'll find out soon. I will monitor the situation.
Yes. Good. Let's see. Strike. Jamie Alexiak quietly 2 assists and +4, regaining defensive depth, even if they weren't perfect, is huge. It is huge, right? And building that chemistry with Brandon Montour, his new defensive partner. You knew it was going to happen. It was rough that first game. I've been really impressed because really second game and then all throughout the rest of the games that they've played so far, RJ, it seems like a lot of that rough stuff from game one has really been hammered out between the two of them.
Yeah, they're building the chemistry, and I think Alexiak just by himself has gotten better. I think he was a little more mistake prone in the first couple games, but I think we're seeing that progression. Sometimes it just takes a few games for a guy to get fully locked in. I think that's what we're seeing with Alexiak.
Yes. Jules, yeah, Joey or Turbo should get the belt. Turbo was blocking the other goalie's view, setting up plays, and got a goal. Turbo did have a huge game in this one. Like, he was instrumental in kicking things off for this team for sure.
Yeah, I think he might be my pick.
I wouldn't have an issue with that one. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Leanne, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, fantastic.
Leanne. Great game to get for your birthday. Lindsay Grubauer looking at 7 goals of support longingly from the bench.
Oh, I know. That came up a few times during the live commentary, just comparing the goal support. He'll get some goal support at some point, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Fusion Mix. I'm okay with the belt after seeing what Minnesota is passing around. Now, before I read it, RJ, do you know what Minnesota is passing around?
I don't. No, I don't.
It is a gigantic novelty chain that hangs down to just above crotch level and says hard. The belt is infinitely better than that. Nobody can say anything bad about the belt ever again because it is so much better than that. Oh, that's insane.
I can't pick a joke.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. We're about the monetization. Fusion Mix. And man, Jordan Eberly is a damn good hockey player when his hand isn't broken, huh? That is true. Yes.
We do forget that, I think, a lot from last season, given he was dealing with a broken hand. Still produced fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Coop with some more love for Brandon Tanv. Brandon Tanv net front appreciation post. Please teach our other forwards your ways before you get traded. I mean, this is the game. If you were to work with, a young player or even a player at the NHL level, you would just turn on tape from this game and just say, just watch what Brandon Tanev's doing. Whether it's a moving screen or really when he was able to park himself in front of the net, he had guys that were a lot bigger than him leaning on him in front of UC Saros. He did not give up any ground, and he made sure that Saros was not going to be able to see anything cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, he just was living right there in front. And it seemed like Pred's defenders were almost like at first hesitant to even kind of body him up. But then especially like on the later goals, right? You're pointing it out, just they were even bodied up and just couldn't move him out of the way.
Right. And Ricky with go to the net. Good things happen when you go to the net for sure. And then Jules, what line had the most ice time today? I'm going to pull up Money Puck. I can tell you that just like regular ice time leaders amongst the forward group.
At 5-on-5, it was the Burakovsky, Beniers, Tolvanen line.
Yeah. This is the first game, I believe, in which Schwarz-Stevenson was not the forward ice time leader. RJ, do you know who it was?
Would it be Matty? I mean, he was
on
that
Matty.
line.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was close, but it was 19 seconds more for Matty Beniers than Schwarz-Stevenson in this one. And then it is a bit of a drop off to Jared McCann who's almost two minutes less than Matty Beniers.
And looking at the leaders too, Matty leading at 17:42. That is Hackstall like rolling 4 lines. The score line dictates a lot of that, especially at the end, I'm sure. But man, that is really rolling all 4 of your lines for sure.
Yeah. I know people have talked about that, and we were hopeful that moving away from Hackstall, we were going to see something different. It's just the construction of this team is just so built for this, and the way the fourth line is playing right now. Why would you change it? Why wouldn't you do this?
Right. I mean, really, the reason most teams do it is because they have a line of star players, and their fourth line is a lot worse than this. It doesn't cost $9.5 million, right? So, that makes sense why, if you're like a Nashville, you'd want to do that, or any other team, why you'd want to do it. But the Kraken they're built different.
Yes.
And I feel like, we could have said that a lot in a bad way last year and a lot in a really good way 2 years ago. They remain built different. We just got to see whether it's good or bad.
I mean, it is certainly good tonight. Olivia, this is really fun. 5th time's the charm. Finally got to see them win in person. That game plus Joey saves were absolutely insane, and all 4 lines looked so good. So happy for you, Olivia, to finally get to see that dub.
That is great. Yeah, really happy for you, Olivia. It's unlike anything else, seeing a win in person, right? Until you're waiting on that first one. I'm sure that means a lot. You'll always remember that one.
Yeah, now we have some homework here, RJ, from Lindsay. Eberly said he totally changed his off-season workout routine, and he had some of the best scores in their physical exams in the preseason too. You should ask him what he changed.
Ooh, that's a fantastic question. Yes. Yeah, I didn't realize that he had
I was going to say, I don't remember him saying that to us.
No, yeah. So, I mean, if you could give me a source too, so I could see exactly what he said, that'd be fantastic, Lindsay. So I'll throw some homework back at you.
Yes. Rand, can we get a hell yeah for the Big Cat empty net? Woohoo. I'll give you a hell yeah for that, because that was fantastic. From the defensive zone, RJ, putting it to bed. Kraken were getting a little too fancy out there for the Big Cat. He wanted it just to be over so he could go home.
I'm fine with it. It's okay.
I
was hoping he'd pass it back to Joey, but that's kind of unrealistic expectation.
It's too early in the season. You got to lock down the 2 points. Just end it and get out of there. Let's see. Matty for sure is getting his stride back. He should be getting a goal soon from Jules. I think a lot of the centers are going to start scoring soon. And Fusion Mix, Matty looked like he hasn't looked since season 2. Man, so many good puck plays. He rolled off contact instead of looking defeated and frustrated, danced through guys. It rocked. I really like that. I like the way you phrased that, Fusion Mix, because yes, there was a lot of times last year where when he faced a lot of contacts, he did look frustrated. And that does not seem to be the case. He looks motivated to really push through and make something happen there. So
he feels like a very confidence-driven player to me.
Yeah. I think that's probably,
which could be kind of a positive or a negative feedback loop, whichever you want. Whichever it happens.
Well, it means when you've got confidence, you're a really good player, right? Just don't let anything happen to shatter that. Olivia, Matty also looked so good defensively. There were some points that he was just so effective. I mean, that is Matty Beniers, right? That's Matty playing Matty Beniers hockey. He has always been so good in the defensive zone. We know that last year with Matty's a defensive god, actually, and all of that kind of stuff. The metrics and the analytics have always been on his side, but it does feel like this year it's a lot easier to see some of those plays from him because they're just coming through and they're just great.
Yeah, it's easier to see, and especially when he has the confidence. Like, part of that is a play where he can move the puck out of his own zone and do the things he was doing last year. But then when it results in, a dump in or some play where he doesn't want to, go engage himself, it's easier to forget. But this year it's kind of all coming together. And I think that's one of the things he does really well too. When he does get the zone exit, he puts himself in a position where he builds up plenty of speed and then has the potential to do something dangerous. He just needs to feel confident enough to do that.
Yep. And Michael on board with Matty looking a lot better this year. I got a super chat here from LGG. Is there, feel free to add a comment. There we go. Go Kraken. Love it. Thank you so much, LGG. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that a lot. Michael Turbo got the belt, looks like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said I would monitor the situation, and then I didn't stay on it. So thank you, Michael, though.
Yep. And then I saw one, where was it? From Lindsay. Even though the power play didn't convert, they looked good and really like the looks once they get set up. Zone entries are still iffy though. Yeah, so the zone entries are definitely iffy. There is something to be said for that. But like if they can win that first face off to start the power play, when they were able to do that, I think on their second one, and then they were able to get a couple good looks there. And like Lindsay said, right, like you like the looks. It looks good when they can get set up. I'm still willing to give them time. We talked about this a little bit during the stream. Both special teams, I'm willing to give probably at least one more game. Try to get a 5-game sample size before I start talking about too many things. There's a lot that they're trying to get comfortable and consistent with, right? We've already talked about the consistency that they're looking to build and all the new systems, all the new looks, all of that kind of stuff. I feel like the special team stuff is going to come along after the 5-on-5, just because look, you're getting way more game reps at 5-on-5 than you are on special teams, and certainly the power play. You also practice a lot more 5-on-5 than you're going to be practicing the power play. And when they do power play practice, a lot of times it's just like the 5 guys out there without really a defense, right? So it's one of those things where I feel like it's just going to take game reps before they're going to get certain things down. I will say this, and I agree with, I don't remember who it was in the other chat who said it, and I don't think I read it out loud there, so forgive me, but I love the fact that it's not just endlessly passing backwards and then the last guy has to be the guy to enter the zone. It's pass it backwards, and then if that player has a read where he thinks he can gain the zone, he's going to go for it and try to gain the zone. And a lot of times it was Matty tonight, and I really like that.
Yeah, the optionality is good. It just, you need more reps on it. And I think it's something they will probably practice more as they come back home. Because look, Dan's smart, the coaching staff's smart. They can see the area that needs improvement, that it's the entries, right? That they're okay more or less when they get set up. So it's hard to practice that stuff on the road. It's hard to practice anything on the road. I think they'll practice that a little bit more when they come home.
Yeah. And then Lindsay, same lines versus Philly on Thursday, right? But now do you keep alternating and start Grew or stick with Joey 2 in a row?
I want to prepare everybody for when they start Grew against Philly. I want to get everybody ready for that, because I think that's probably what's going to happen. Just a hunch.
It's such a weird situation there. A couple from Viren here. Matty, the only center over 50 on the dot tonight. Yeah, this one, worst face-off performance, I think, from the Kraken, if I'm remembering correct, so far this season at what, 41.3% as the team. And then the other thing I wanted to look at, because Byron had brought up that even Bjorkstrand had some decent ice time tonight, and even still, it was only 13-14 for Oliver Bjorkstrand, RJ. And so what I want to do is I'm going back to last year to see how much time on ice he had when he obviously put up 59 points, the 20 goals. 16-11 is what he was averaging last year. Not coming close to that so far this season, but still producing. I mean, 2 points tonight.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if like maybe he's dealing with a little nagging something that he can play through or whatever, and you kind of give him less ice time. You'll sometimes see that. I don't know about any thing that he might be dealing with, but just a possible explanation for that.
Yeah. Pablo, how was the power play tonight? It was 0 for 2, but like I said, there's some good looks there. I like that. Yeah. Let's see. Sean, something about the way these guys play in front of Joey. I think we need to go ahead and face that. Yes. I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I see the super chat popping up here. The big one. I haven't forgot about the deal. $100 super chat from Kitty B Kraken. $100 super chat for any 7+ Kraken goal game. That empty net cost me big time. Yeah, you might have to take that up with Lars.
Yes.
Maybe you think you should have passed it back to Joey. Thanks, guys, for such great work, including the Patreon live stream tonight. Good to see you on the live stream there as well. And thank you for the huge super chat there, Kitty B Kraken.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And I'm sure lots of sweating when the goalie was pulled with 5 minutes left in this one there from Kitty B Kraken, but really do appreciate that a lot. Yeah. That is really kind.
And one thing I do want to say too, as we kind of head back into chat and everything, because I realize we're still like, 10 or so minutes behind on the chat. I see a lot of people still in here. I saw like Alex saying 130. It's over 140 now. I'm sure there's got to be some new people because it is earlier on in the season too. If you're new, I just kind of want to say a welcome to everyone who's kind of joining us for the first time this season. And, we do try and get to as many messages as we can, but just based on the necessity, we do have to kind of skip over some or drop down for super chats. But again, feel free to be involved in chat. Like there's, whether it's a question, observation, anything, like there are no, bad comments. So just want to kind of extend that welcome to all the newer people too.
Definitely. No, good thinking there from RJ. I mean, this goes back to when we were talking about Jaden Schwartz maybe being a little bit like Mark Stone. I like this from Fusion Mix. Kirkland's best Mark Stone. Signature select Mark Stone.
Yep.
Some good stuff. Oh man. Let's see. Gaby, am I the only one who thought Shane got the second assist on that fourth or fifth goal? Eberly, I forgot who scored. I thought so too.
You thought so at the time. I remember.
Yeah,
during the
I thought
stream,
so too. It has been credited to Alexiak. It must be that Shane kind of stopped it, and then Alexiak is the one who moved it up to McCann. I haven't watched a replay since it happened. So, I mean, maybe it was Shane and they'll correct it at some point, but for now it does remain Jamie Alexiak. But I did think the same thing.
Yeah, no, I remember at the time you thought so. I didn't see it touch, but they always take a look at it. The off-ice officials always look at it. Sometimes you do get corrections the day after.
Yeah. Let's see. Stratic, there's a kind of consistency in making regular adjustments, make sure the players are flexible and ready for change because they are used to it. I agree with that. Kylie, the Beltate is so out of control, lol. It's their thing, not our thing. Get over it already. I know I did not expect something to be so divisive so early on in the season. Let's see.
And when I checked the podcast the other day too, right? The comments, there were like 10 comments or so total. Eight of them were about the belt.
Oh,
it's really this divisive issue.
It appears though, based on this chat and what I'm seeing here, that we have maybe turned a corner, and that is good because I think they're playing good hockey. I think there's a lot of things to be optimistic about with this team. I don't think that we need to worry so much about what's going on there. And then B, Alexiak had a full 26:01 time on ice, which I think led the team. If so, then this would be the first game that Brandon Montour has not led the team in ice time. And yes, that is true. Maybe there's something to the fact that you have that lead in the third period, right? It's unlike every other game this season where you've been chasing it in the third period. You've needed Montour out there playing big minutes. This one, you're defending a lead. Go with the big rig.
I am checking Money Puck. I want to see how often Alexiak Larson was used. Oh, not much. Just a minute 24 at even strength. I was just wondering if that's a more defensive configuration you might want to go with, but not really. It was just Alexiak Montour big time. Also probably during the PK stuff, especially the 4-on-3. I don't remember who exactly was out there, but I imagine Alexiak would have been.
I'm sure that he was. Yes. I'm pretty sure I remember that actually. And it was Lars and Alexiak, which makes sense. And Vince Dunn, fourth amongst Kraken defensemen tonight in time on ice, working back from that, injury that kept him day to day. Just happy to have him back in the lineup. RJ
makes such a difference.
He does make a difference, right? He wasn't on the score sheet tonight, only plays 19 and a half or so minutes. But the feeling of him in the lineup is just different than anything else, for sure.
And also, it was brought up again to the just amount of the goal scoring with Vince Dunn in the lineup versus without over all of Kraken history, and just the stark difference. Felt it again tonight.
Is it as stark as Grubauer versus anybody else in net?
Oh, probably not.
Is that it? Is that what it's been? Is just it been like their injuries have offset or something? Like whenever Vince Dunn has missed time, it's when Gru has been healthy and dominating starts. Is it really just that? Maybe
I can't imagine. That's a heck of an assignment for Viren to complete in 5 seconds.
Pass it off like that.
Yeah. Also, the ice time for Alexiak, that's his second most in any game for the Kraken. So
okay, there we go. Let's see. Where am I going? Jason, Lindsay breaking the number changes, and now this Ebbs news. Are you starting your own Kraken YouTube channel? That's true. That is true.
Lindsay with the scoops.
And then Stridic, did Ebbs call Tanv burnt toast in the belt ceremony? Did he really? That's awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, creating an emoji controversy. What's the emoji for Tanv now? Is it like burnt toast, or would it be the ghosts? I don't know.
Toast or ghost? Which one?
Yeah, Jeremy with some love for the big rig. Thought Rig played a hell of a game. Looks great with Monty. I agree there. And then Kylie, yep. I swear, almost every time Dunn is out, we lose. it is one of those things. So really liking that. Power play face-off win percentage tonight on the 3 face-offs was 66% thanks to Viren. That is good to hear, because I think that is going to really dictate whether or not the power play is going to succeed a lot.
Yeah, on 3 face-off. Yeah, so 2 for 3 there on the face-offs. And yeah, if you can't get an entry, you need those face-off wins.
Yep. Pablo, good night, guys. Let's go Kraken. Go beat the Flyers on Thursday. Definitely. Good night, Pablo. Thanks for stopping by. Love the welcome for all the new people from Tammy there as well. Coop, Dylan is absolutely drowning in live Gatorades so far this year. Business is booming. That it is. Afra, hello. You're so happy about the win too. I think I could give you some treats here. I think that would be good.
Yeah, where's her cut? You're getting all the lemon lime Gatorade.
I was gonna say I did today. We are set up for the foreseeable future here with the bit of treats for Afra. We got the couch move so she can join. We've got the treats here. I'm spreading the wealth. I'm sharing.
It's all coming together.
Yep. There you go, Afra.
Yes.
New spot. She's going to continue to try to eat the treats off screen and away, but good stuff. Jake, only 2 players without a point yet on the team. It would be what, Shane Wright, and who would the other one be? Would it be maybe Will Borgen?
Well, does Mahura count?
Oh, does Mahura count? I mean, maybe. I'm trying to. I can think of maybe Tolvanen. Does Tolvanen have something?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Okay. If it's Shane Wright, that's crazy, because I feel like Shane Wright has been like one of their best players so far this season. Yeah, that is just like really bad luck.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kraken broke my fantasy hockey app. It couldn't process. Still says there's 20 minutes left in the game. It did that yesterday. The NHL.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a glitch there, or it just couldn't handle this third period. The Preds certainly couldn't.
Yeah. Shannon, we want more 7-goal outings for sure. Let's see.
I don't know if KDB Kraken would agree with that.
I don't know about that. Michael, regarding RJ and Dylan's comments about people, this group is so great and makes this Washington to California transplant feel like home. Appreciate that, Michael. As a couple California to Washington transplants, we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Viren pointing out Vince Dunn played 81 games in 22-23, so it wouldn't explain Martin Jones. Yes, Martin Jones is, I guess, just.
Yeah.
There is no burnt toast emoji, as Stradix pointing out. Although there is the kind of like cheers ones there.
Rebecca confirming though they called him burnt toast.
That is interesting. Interesting. All right. Hey, we got another lemon lime Gatorade lover in here from Jeremy. Love that. Ricky pointing out, Wright has 0 points, but he sure is on the ice for a lot of goals. It's coming. I agree with you, Ricky. Like it is coming. I know RJ, you got a beer league game you got to get to. So it does feel like we're kind of down here at the very end of chat. I'll do a quick round of last calls, but if you need to get going, RJ, you can go for it.
I can stick around for the last calls. The game does start in 12 minutes. So I know I just have that built in. I'm going to be late. Like this is, I can't ditch this early.
Yes. Afra's really inserting herself here. Thanks for the compliments on our Pablo there. Appreciate it. And Ricky pointed out Shane Wright leads the team in plus minus. Interesting.
That's impressive to do without a point.
That's really impressive. I mean, he was +2 today. I believe it though, just because of how well he's been playing. Can I get to the mic, Afra? Schultz, what is it with the Kraken lighting up goalies like Saros, but struggling to get any past a backup?
Goaltending's weird. I've been saying this. This is why you don't pay them, because they're weird. I love them though, unlike Dylan.
My gosh, I tolerate them. Where's all this hate come from?
Byron figured out the emoji thing.
Yes, I like that. I like that emoji. It's not as clean and simple as just using the ghost, but I like it. I mean, hey, is there something to ghost? Toast.
What
rhymes?
That's what I was getting at. Ghost or toast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do a quick last call, but otherwise, I mean, this was just a great game, RJ. I don't want to say it was a get right game for the Kraken, but it was a prove it game for the Kraken, right? It was one where they kind of proved that you can beat the momentum allegations, right? That you're a team that really struggles with them. So I'm really happy by what we saw in this one. RJ, was we got to see more of what the Kraken are kind of going for with being a skating team, the offensive looks that they want, and just the fact that, you know, momentum was against them at times, and they were able to turn it around and then build it back up for themselves.
Yeah, it's as much of a statement game as you can have this early in a season, I think.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Tammy, Dylan,
And
you
then
better do more than tolerate Joey. Yes, I
stay
know.
on
I
him.
know.
Yep.
I know. And then Coop, still waiting for Dylan to comment on AHL goal per game, Jagger Furcus.
You did duck that comment in the live commentary too. So
I didn't see it. No, I
oh,
would have.
okay. It was there. Coop did put it in there. I should have
Okay.
brought it up. Sorry, Coop.
Okay. I did not see that. I will say this, Coop. We'll talk about it on the Prospect Live chat upcoming. You can be there for that. That's on the 23rd, I believe, is when I scheduled that for. So I'll talk about it there. But you know what? Look, I like it. I like it. I am happy for it. I will say this. I am always happy to be proven wrong by Kraken, Firebergs, Kraken prospects. I am always happy to be proven wrong when they turn out better than I think they will.
Believe, Dylan. Believe.
I gotta believe, Coop. I'm sorry. AHL Rookie of the Year incoming. Firebirds have a lot of potential guys for that AHL Rookie of the Year. So gonna be really exciting. 2 goals from Michkov, maybe Rookie of the Year in the NHL there, RJ. Just saying,
It's
maybe.
possible.
I don't know. Bryce. Oh, Bryce coming in clutch at the end here. We'll make this the last one. If my math is right, the Kraken average a full goal per game more with done than without. That's substantial.
It is. I remember someone tweeted that it was like close to that. This probably put it over the top. 7 goals probably helps the numbers. But yeah, he's just a player they can't afford to lose. Which is good. It's good to have players like that. You want to have them. You know, you are reliant, but it's just good to have those guys.
Don't let anybody touch him out there on the ice. They need to send somebody out whose whole job is just to keep him good. I'm sure that won't affect anything metrics for him. And then Christian, no one will ever top Rask for Dylan. That's right. Best part of season 1. Victor Rask, Kraken legend.
Your boy.
Love it. We'll end the stream on that one. Thanks everybody so much for joining us. Thanks everybody for all the super chats. Special shout out to Kitty B Kraken for the big one there. Of course. Thanks to everybody who joined us over on Patreon for the live game commentary. Really appreciated it. Super excited to have the Kraken come home on Thursday against the Flyers. Should be a lot of fun, and we'll see you all there.